It's me, Mario!
Video game music. I don't know about you guys, but music from video games kinda hits differently. There's this distinctive tempo and feel to video game music that cannot be replicated in the same fashion anywhere else. These are the songs and soundtracks that are fused with some of our favorite video games and some of our favorite moments in gaming that really bring life and sprout originality with every single world that you decide to dive into. Take, for example, the Zelda series. Zelda as a whole has such a unique universe, and I would argue a major reason for this distinctive world is because of the music that we remember and associate it with, such as Ganondorf's theme. When the developers of Twilight Princess were making the music for the final boss, they had to think, okay, alright, how can we portray a ruthless, tyrannical, powerful villain who is in this universe the king of evil? And then they made this. Music in video games, music in general actually, is extremely powerful, and when the music is utilized in multiple ways to bring a unique and colorful universe to life, it is breathtaking to say the least. Now, I've played so many video games already, and I'll be playing even more in the future that will potentially have really good music, so I'm not just gonna make one simple video about music in video games, rather an entire series, okay? Because there's so much that I could talk about. The variety is sort of limitless, honestly. I could talk about music from specific video games, different types of music, the absence of music, there's so much. So we're making this a series. And as for the first episode in the series, it's kind of like a test run, so work with me here, okay? I'm going to be talking about the most important type of music in video games, and that is tone or atmospheric music. Music in which is associated with emotion, how the player should feel in the current moment, or music that builds to the arena or level design that they are currently exploring. And with some soundtracks that I will talk about, some of my personal favorite, man, they are powerful. So without further ado, fellow friends and family, I hope you enjoy the video. Evil Within 2 is a wonderful game. It was a lot better than I expected it to be, seriously. And it was very emotional, but the most emotional moments were near the very end, starting with this music. A calm but mysterious tone that begs the questions about all that has happened. Why was your wife Myra the enemy? Who is Theodore? And more importantly, where is Lily? When you wake up and start to explore the hidden memories placed around the area, it all starts to make sense. All the puzzle pieces start to connect and make the entire picture. Myra was trying to protect Lily as well, but she became corrupted when she became the core. Theodore wanted more power, so he pretended to be a part of the plan. And this music sums it up in a fierce but dramatic tone. After suffering through so much, the emotional grasp from this music told me that I was nearly finished with my journey, but the toughest decision was still ahead. And that decision is leaving your wife behind within the Union to save yourself, and more importantly, your daughter Lily. It is a beautiful and haunting soundtrack that was an excellent build-up for discovering the last pieces to the story and the final boss, along with one of my favorite endings pretty much ever, seriously, in video game history. It's really good. I could make an entire video about the ending sequence from Evil Within 2, but the music is just enough to make this entire conclusion very memorable.
You keep finding something to fight for. Now, I know that's not what you want to hear right now.
Swear to me. Swear to me that everything that you've said about the Fireflies is true.
I swear.
Okay.
Ending scenes in video games should always have great music, and how that music is used can differ. Sometimes the ending is very happy, so you want to use calm or cheerful music. The ending could be sad, so gloomy tunes could be used, suspenseful if it's unanswered, things like that. The Last of Us series is my favorite series in gaming as of right now, especially when it comes to storytelling. I absolutely love it. And this ending scene right here is both simple, but at the same time so complicated, and with the music, it adds so much to this scene. But you want to know what's ironic? The ending theme starts to play at the very last part of the scene. And honestly, I think that is phenomenal. With Ellie confronting Joel about the Fireflies and the immunity that she was gifted with serving no purpose, she begs for a promise from Joel that everything he said was true about the Fireflies, that there were multiple people immune to the infected, and that there was no vaccine that could be made. And Joel swears, still hiding the truth from Ellie. You gotta love that pause, by the way. That small strum of guitar strings was so subtle, but it really pushed the scene into something way more than without it. But what's the kicker for me is the small pause of reflection after Joel says he swears, where Ellie is thinking about all that has happened, all the deaths that have happened, from Tess to Henry to Sam and her best friend Riley. All that reflection built up into one word: okay. When the music started to play and the credits started to roll, I was in shock. I was in disbelief because of that sudden ending, but it was rather fantastic. It was amazing, and the music, I have to say, was really good support. The music never interferes with the scene. Sometimes you get it in video games where it's too loud or something like that, but it doesn't take you away from the emotional moments, rather it builds upon that. Let me go back to the point where Ellie says, "Swear to me." Like I mentioned beforehand, that pause in between her sentences is when the music starts to play. And because it wasn't playing before, and especially because it started within a moment of silence, the music hits 10 times more so than if it was just playing the entire time. Not to mention that there are multiple pauses after the music starts to play, not only so you can hear it more clearly, but it makes the scene so much more powerful because it seems that these characters are giving thought and processing what words they are about to say. It really gives life to that scene. It doesn't seem forced, and again with the music filling in the gaps, it really is the, I would say, perfect storm. Having good music is one thing, but when you introduce that beautiful soundtrack at the perfect moment, that's when it becomes a perfect cutscene, and that's why this is one of my favorite endings in video games, period. Just like the ending towards a video game, the introduction has to have great music too. The intro music can represent the entire game as a whole, doesn't have to, or it can simply represent the current area within a video game, and my choice for a great first impression is Hollow Knight. Now, although I haven't finished the game yet, I've had my fair share of Dirtmouth's soundtrack, and I have to say, it is hauntingly beautiful. I am pretty much a sucker for slow piano, and Dirtmouth is just that, mixed in with some violin here and there, and it's really just magical. I can't really put my finger on it, but it does remind me of a time when things were simpler. I don't know why, it just does. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of my favorite movie of all time, Spirited Away, and I'll put a picture up for you guys. Let me know if you've actually watched this movie, because seriously, this movie is something else. But anyways, this music is great introduction to Hollow Knight because you are dropped into this world without knowing much, and you are met with an old town full of graves and empty streets. The air filled with music that arouses mystery and provokes questions about what lies ahead, and more. It's a rather simple soundtrack, but sometimes the most simplistic are the most gorgeous. You don't really need anything else. Now, Gehrman is a bit different from other boss themes, because it's not very action-packed as others are, especially in the same game. Rather, it's more tranquil and calming. You would think having a calm tone for a boss fight wouldn't be such a good idea, but it is extremely effective. Mix that in with the burning workshop in the background, the full moon, and the field of flowers, dude, the art direction behind this entire fight is brilliant. But when it comes to the music, however, it represents, I think, the despair of both Gehrman and you. Without going too much into the lore, because there's multiple videos about that, Gehrman is trapped here within this dream, and if you catch some dialogue while he slumbers, he refers to the dream as a nightmare, wishing to escape and to be free of it. However, he can't, and since he is stuck here, Gehrman is a guide to the new hunters, essentially, and at the end of the hunt, when you kill the wet nurse, the workshop is burned and prepared for the next hunter. Now this is where Gehrman offers to show us mercy, to kill us and allow us to escape and return to the waking world. But when we refuse, it means that we have turned into a blood-starved hunter, seeking and searching for more blood to consume. Now at this point, we are just like Gascoigne, a hunter who has turned into a beast whose only desire is the blood. What I like about this music and about this fight is that it is not a battle between a villain and a hero, like in most cases, rather a merciful, caged servant to the hunt, and a hunter who has succumbed to the lust of bloodshed. The music representing that slow descent into madness for both characters. Easily one of my favorite soundtracks in Bloodborne for sure. And honestly, I think I can stretch it a bit, the concept, and say that this soundtrack represents the entire game as a whole. Maybe a bit of a stretch, but I think it would fit. As the final main game boss, I think Gehrman's soundtrack is absolutely wonderful, and a really good conclusion to Bloodborne. Fellow friends and family, thank you so much for watching. And like I said in the introduction, this first episode was kind of like a test run. I just wanted to talk about a couple of soundtracks that I really like, and so I did. And it was a little bit more serious than I usually do. I like making funny videos, but when it comes to talking about music, I think I need to take a more serious tone because I am seriously like so passionate about music. It's so good. I literally listen to music every single day for like at least an hour by like just music by itself. It's so good. And yeah, be sure to expect more episodes of different music in specific video games like I mentioned. I'm really excited. And yeah, if you did enjoy this video and if you made it all the way here, thank you so much. Be sure to do all the things that YouTubers ask for, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Take care, everyone, and stay safe.